Well, thank you, John, first of all, for this opportunity to dialogue on a subject of interest to all of us, and that is the emerging sectors of the digital economy. Was part of a research to focus on what are the emerging sectors with the highest potential for job creation and contribution to GDP in Canada. It's one that it was an eye-opener to me, as many as others, is to find out an economy on our doorstep that's growing between 35 to 45% per year, employing currently 51,000, jobs of 51,000 in Canada, growing to 78,000 by 2016, and generating approximately 2.2 billion to the economy. So it's a very fast-track economy that we should embrace going forward. This economy is certainly fueled by the small medium enterprises in Canada, and it's very prevalent because whether it's the apps economy and other research that we're doing on the mobile and cloud computing, all of these economies will be impacting all sectors of the economy in Canada. So whether it's the mobile banking and investment, whether it's the e-health and remote diagnostics, whether it's on oil and gas and telemetry and remote measurements on this, the impact is tremendous. And in terms of it's an environment that we should be embracing going forward, because it will impact certainly the innovation factor, but also the productivity factor in Canada. And I think that's where we should be concentrating and focusing on. Well, the two fundamental aspects that we can look at in that, as we discuss with this industry, and as I mentioned, this is the small medium enterprises. They could be from 4 to 6 employees in that industry. The first aspect is really access to talent, and to stimulate that access to talent and the supply of talent, we should be looking as a country of how do we enable that environment? How do we fast-track entry and attract students in that environment? So should we be looking at some of the educational policies and perhaps to provide some focused scholarship in that environment or targeted scholarships? Should we lower tuition fees to attract the supply in that arena? And we should be looking at how to engage all human capital in Canada. So segments, for instance, women in ICT is, it's something that we can entice going forward. Aboriginal youth and all youth, and we know that the unemployment level of youth in Canada is higher than the average elsewhere. The second aspect that I'd like to talk about is really access to funding. These organizations are small, are looking for how to access funding. So are there any economic policies that we could do in Canada to lower taxation for corporate taxation, to provide access to research funding, and to provide access to perhaps foreign direct investment? And let me say, I commend CATA, and specifically yesterday I participated at an internet forum on the innovation box. This is one of the toolbox that we can employ in Canada, but not only retaining intellectual property and talent associated with that, but to entice companies as foreign direct investment to come up and set up in Canada.